All right, we're deep in the city of Ontario, here at the one and only Graber Olive House, and I'm here with Connie. Tell me a little bit about the Graber Olive House.
I'll be happy to. Graber's is a 119-year-old family business. We've been here since 1894 and still owned and operated by the Graber family. Third generation runs the business today. And the founder, C.C. Graber, was only 20 years old when he came here from the Midwest in 1894. So he started putting in his orange trees, but it takes several years before oranges start producing fruit.
Sure.
So he needed to do some other things in those intervening years to get some income. And he was planting small crops and berries and things and selling them around town when he found a grove of mature olive trees. These were left over from the Rancho period of California, and they were just about a quarter of a mile down the street here on some unowned property. So they were producing fruit that was just going to waste.
Wow.
And C.C. Graber was a very thrifty kind of guy, and he thought, hey, maybe I could figure out how to do something with this fruit, this crop. And he knew nothing about olives. Being from the Midwest, he hadn't really eaten olives, and being new to Ontario or California. So he learned from the old timers that olives are a stone fruit, like a cherry or a plum, and that they have a similar life cycle. They start out hard and green, but as they ripen, they get red and soft like ripe fruit does.
Sure.
But he was shocked because all the recipes called for picking the olives when they were still hard and green. And he thought you would never pick a cherry hard and green and think this is wonderful, the best it's ever going to be. So he decided to, well, let me change it up a little. I'll let it get ripe. I'll adjust the curing time accordingly. And that very first batch he made, when he shared them with the old timers in the area, they right off said, "These are great. What did you do?" You know, and he just, in his naivety, kind of stumbled upon what we still do today, and that's use a ripe olive.
Really?
And it's harder because you have to look at the tree. It takes a person to go to the tree and pick just the ripe olives, one by one, little tiny olives.
Yeah.
And each tree has tens of thousands of olives on it, so it's harder up front. But on the back end, it only takes 3 weeks to cure them because they're already soft and they take the curing much more easily.
Wow.
So I'll show you the whole process. It's really interesting to see all the old equipment and how we do it.
This is cool because I know some of the time, last year and the year before when you're trying to get me out
Right.
here, it's right before or during your harvest
Right.
season. And your harvest season lasts about a month?
Well, about 6 to 7 weeks.
6 to 7, okay, about 2 months.
Yeah, depends a little bit on the harvest, but
And so what we thought we would do when we came out here was to show what everybody, any time of year, can actually see, right?
that's good. Yes,
All
this is most of the year.
Most
Yes,
of the year.
yes,
All right,
yeah.
so I'm following you. Where do
All
we
right,
go?
we're going to go right over in here.
All right.
All right, so Mr. Graber lost access to those trees that were down the street here about 1920.
Somebody bought the land.
Yes,
huh?
and he couldn't afford it. So the Grabers now have an 80-acre ranch that's just up north of Bakersfield.
Okay.
And they grow all the olives there and then harvest them in the fall when they begin to ripen about mid-October and bring them down here still to cure them and can them.
Oh, wow.
All right, and so we've entered into these old barns and warehouses that date back to 1900. And by 1930s, early 30s, Mr. Graber was firmly entrenched in the olive business. He was kind of the only one in town doing olives and doing them so well. So he decided to convert over all of his barns and warehouses into an olive processing plant. So this area here is called the Braiding Room. This is where the olives are first brought when they come in from the ranch. They start out at the far end of the table up there and they move along that upper table past graders who are picking through them and taking out any that aren't suitable for canning.
They still do it
They
physically
still
by
do it
hand?
Yep. And then everything that passes the inspection on that upper table comes down to this second half that's the sizing part of the operation. And this machine was built to his specifications back in 1934 when it was brand new. There are nylon cables here within the machine that run the length.
Okay.
And here at the beginning, the space between the cables is narrow, but as it makes its way down, it slowly widens.
Oh, okay.
So that the olives get drawn along and then fall through along the way based on their size.
About how many olives you figure go through here in a year, or in a harvest season?
Well, we can go anywhere between about 50 tons and up to 150 tons of olives a year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Where are we? This looks so cool.
We're in the Vat Room. And there are 550 of these big concrete vats here. The The olives are placed in the vat along with water and coarse salt that just makes a briny water. And they'll remain in the vats for 3 weeks. And every day during that 3 weeks, there's a schedule where several times a day they're stirred in the salty water.
Okay.
And then once a day they pull a cork from the base of the vat, allowing the water to drain out completely. And they're rinsed and then recorked and refilled with new water and new salt. So that over the course of the 3 weeks, they're constantly being agitated in that water and then once a day refreshed in new salty water. So the olives are carried in here and they're poured out on here and inspected again to catch anything that we might have missed during the first inspection, anything that shouldn't be canned. Everything that passes the inspection comes down onto this stainless steel table where the olives just well up here, in a big center well area.
Sure.
And then there are empty cans being fed in from the other room.
Okay.
And then there are 3 ladies who sit here, and with gloved hands, they just scoop the olives from the center area over these open holes. And so as the table turns and passes all the ladies, they all have a chance to get the can nice and full. And then the filled can gets picked up and moved off over into the next room where the lid is going to be put on it.
Oh my goodness.
And this was all state-of-the-art brand new equipment from the Continental Can Company in 1934 when it was brand new. And then the can enters into the machine, and there's a stack of lids that are in this little sleeve here. The lid gets dropped down on top of the can and crimped on so that when the can rolls down here, the top seal on the can is just like the factory bottom seal.
And your olives, the Graber olives, are going where from here?
They go, well, we sell directly to Stater Brothers markets, so all the Stater Brothers markets in the Inland Empire and Orange County and all the places Staters are carry our size 12 olives. And then besides that, we sell to a food broker or different brokers and distributors who sell them all over the world.
Wow.
To gourmet food and gift shops and grocery stores and restaurants that serve Graber olives.
So Graber is a brand that's literally all over the world.
Right. Even though we are just a small family business, we are known all around the world. This is where the sterilization part of the process takes place. So here we have a big boiler on the far wall and then 2 retorts. And a retort is just a chamber that can be closed up airtight. And we load 3 carts full of olives into the retort and close it. And then steam is fed from the boiler to the retort, and they bring the temperature up to 242 degrees and the pressure up to 12 pounds of pressure, and they remain in there for 62 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And that combination of pressure and temperature and time is enough that it can kill any bacteria that might be present in the can.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then when the carts come out and the cans have cooled, we're ready for that last step, which is to place the label. And then the guys just hand load the cans right out of the cart onto this little shelf. And the can will roll into the machine, passes over an area where it gets some hot glue spread across the edge of the can or
This
the
is
side
hot
of the can.
glue right here?
Yeah, when it's all melted, those little pebbles melt down into hot glue. And then it passes over the stack of labels that gets wrapped around and adhered to the can. And then the label can rolls out on this end and gets dropped down into boxes like this.
Oh, wow.
Any olives that you eat that are pitted have been picked hard.
Okay.
Because they have to be firm enough to be able to remove the pit and still keep their shape. And then they go on to be cured in a process that takes several months instead of just the 3 weeks that we do.
Okay.
So, and as a result, our olives are not pitted. We still have the pit or the seed in our olive, and that's because they're too tender when we pick them at ripe to be able to remove the pit. They would fall apart if we did. Isn't that good?
A little bit juicier
Succulent,
and
yes,
succulent.
yes.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Are good words.
Yes.
I'm just going to have to keep enjoying
Yourself, that's
for
what
seconds.
you're there for. Yep.
Oh, buttery, succulent, juicy. Well, I enjoy. When can people come and take the tour you and I just went
They
on?
can come any day all year round. The only days we're closed are holidays, but we're open every day from 9:30 to 5:30.
Oh, well, I thank you so much for having
You're very
me.
welcome. Thank you.
Mouthful of pits, but obviously a very unique spot here in the Inland Empire. One of a kind, historic spot here in the Inland Empire. If you want more information, go to inlandempireexplorer.com or check us out on Facebook, because I'm sure we'll be posting about this place very soon. I'm out. I've just spit out these pits.